The legislature is back in session. Speaker Cruz, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairman. Madam Chairman, what I have before all of you this evening is another version of a real property tax increase. It still uses the change of 0.79, and it's only on improvements again. We've done some estimates, and this amendment before you is only going to impose the new 7/19 tax on improvements that are appraised over $1 million. We've received word that would only affect 400, well, a little less than 400 improvements on island landowners. I did this because yesterday we lost the real property tax because people were concerned that it was going to affect some wooden structures that were at somebody's lansu. And wooden structures, and trying to figure out whether or not it should be homes at 300,000 or 500. I decided to go to $1 million. It would only affect less than 400 landowners. And the 400 landowners, this increase would provide us $7.9 million. And we've received that calculation, and so that is my amendment. It has been heard. The change of the improvements was heard. No million-dollar owners came and said they were opposed to it because of the proposed increase. And so I'd like to just limit the increase in the real property tax to just those with assessed values over $1 million.
Thank you, Speaker Cruz. Would any member of the body like to speak on the Cruz amendment? Vice Speaker Chalahi, you're recognized.
Thank you. I appreciate this amendment. I think it much more directs any potential increase in real property tax. I think I had asked this specific question of OFB yesterday as to could they tell me what the difference would be if we made an amendment like this, and I was told that this type of information was not available. And but I want to clarify, if we are talking about assessed value versus appraised value, because the written amendment says appraised, yet the mover of the amendment used the word assessed.
I stand corrected. I apologize.
So we'll stick with appraised value. And just to make sure we're absolutely clear, is this appraised value of the improvement, or because it says except that improvements on all land property with an appraised value? And I think it could be, read either way, that you're talking about the value is on the land versus the improvements. So if you could just clarify, maybe legal could just make sure it's absolutely, exactly what we want. If the author would yield.
Speaker Cruz?
The way that we wrote it was to only just include just the improvements thereon.
So if the value of the improvement is over $1 million. All right. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vice Speaker. Any other member wish to be heard on the Cruz amendment? Senator Siniclas.
Just a quick point of inquiry. Under existing law, when it references the property tax code, does it reference it on appraised value or assessed value? Because the assessed value, I understand, is the triennial, And appraised, well, basically, if you get an appraisal, you're kind of creating a taxable event. So should it instead be assessed value of $1 million? That way we have a uniform valuation standard.
Senator, are you directing your question to legal?
OFB, legal, or the author.
Okay, we'll take a quick 1-minute recess.
I
Legislature is back in session. Speaker Cruz, you're recognized.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I apologize. I'm going to have to make a couple of amendments. On the third line, where it's underlined, except that improvements, after that, on all land property, that should be struck. It should be except that all improvements with an appraised value. All right, so the first amendment would be to strike those 4 words, on all land property. I apologize for confusing everybody with that inartful wording.
Okay, we'll take that one first. On the Cruz amendment to strike on all land property on the third line, would any member wish to be heard? None? Any objection? Hearing none, so moved. Speaker?
And then on the 4th line, Madam Speaker, after the 1 million or more, insert the words, as approved by the Board of Equalization each fiscal year.
On that amendment, would any member wish to be heard?
I'm sorry, what was the terminology, what was the wording?
After $1 million or more, we were adding the words, as approved by the Board of Equalization
As what?
each fiscal year.
As approved?
As approved by the Board of Equalization each fiscal year.
Madam Chair, if I may ask for a 1-minute recess to discuss something with the mover of this amendment?
Recess granted.
Thank you.
The legislature is back in session. Speaker Cruz, you're recognized.
Madam Speaker, inasmuch as the Director of Revenue and Taxation is going to be here in the morning and there are some issues that some of us are debating about, maybe it's best if I table this discussion until after we meet with Revenue Tax in the morning.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
it's been a long day. We've addressed a lot of different issues, and I think it's to the point where even our staff look a little foggy-eyed and whatnot. I believe it might be best to recess for the day and maybe come back tomorrow morning with a little more energy. But so I move that we recess until tomorrow morning at your call.
Any objection? Hearing
What
none.
time would you?
We'll
8
recess
o'clock?
until
Reverend
8
Tax is
o'clock. 8 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Thank you, Madam Chair.